What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Tuesday, February 9th. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who are your favorite options on FanDuel for tonight's slate. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Bam Adebayo, DeMarcus Cousins, Joe Ingles, Blake Griffin, and DeMar DeRozan on the outside looking in. Who will be my top 5 plays, the favorites for today? It's time to find out. First up, number 5, I'm still going to JERAMI Grant, 7,800, small forward eligibility, projected for 40. The goal's 49. He's in the optimal lineup 28% of the time. It's the same thing every time. We're talking 35 minutes, 26% usage, 23.5 points, almost 6 boards, 3 assists, 2 stocks. Monster pace up spot for JERAMI Grant. The Pistons gained 3.2 possessions over their average, taking on Brooklyn. This fits perfectly. I think it's even better for JERAMI Grant since Kevin Durant is not going to be playing today. That's just one like-bodied guy that isn't out there. Brooklyn's defense, not very good. Huge pace up spot for the Pistons. I see no reason to avoid going to JERAMI Grant. I think he looks fantastic here. Next up in number 4, I'm going to Keldon Johnson. Small forward eligibility, 5,300, significantly lower than where he had been. 29.4 fantasy point projection. In the optimal lineup 28% of the time. I really like this spot because of the position and because of the price. 29 minutes, 22% usage, 16 points, 6.5 boards, 2 assists, a stock and a half. And again, the key tenet for all of this, major pace up spot. Taking on Golden State, it's an additional 2.9 possessions over their averages. Keldon Johnson is normally a 0.95 fantasy point per minute guy. Just from the pace up spot alone, I think he's more like a 1 fantasy point per minute guy. I almost said 0.1, but that would have been crazy. That's enough of a bump to be interesting. And Keldon Johnson is simply just underpriced for what his normal role entails. 5,300 at small forward for a guy that plays essentially 30 minutes. I love that, especially on a 7-game slate. This is a no-brainer for me, especially with no LaMarcus Aldridge and no Derek White on the floor today for the Spurs. Keldon Johnson has an opportunity to, look, the goal is 40.6. Would you be surprised if Keldon Johnson had a 40-point day? I think it happens 10% of the time. We're talking about Keldon Johnson having 40 fantasy points 1 out of every 10 games that he plays. I hope it's today. Now, if we're paying up, this one feels pretty easy. Point guard eligibility on DAMIAN LILLARD, 9,800, almost 51 fantasy point projection. He's in the optimal lineup 29% of the time. And we know the drill for Tampa. For Tampa? Tampa Bay Trail Blazers. It's the TB that got me, which, what is wrong with me? 37 minutes, 33% usage, 29 and 10 as a baseline projection, still gets 4.5 assists, a steal, relatively pace neutral spot for Portland, but you know what's going on here. No CJ McCollum, no Yusuf Nurkic. Dame does everything, and he's taking on an Orlando team that is ultra short-handed. Clearly no Fultz, no Aaron Gordon, no Evan Fournier. It's just not a spot you have to worry about. If you're paying up, don't be afraid to pay up for Damian Lillard because we're talking about a 1.38 fantasy point per minute guy with these guys off the floor. Just pay the freight. Don't sweat it. You know what you're getting out of Dame, and it's generally speaking pretty darn good. Now, number 2, Cole Anthony, point guard eligibility, 5,400, projected for 33. The goal's 41. He's in the optimal lineup 29% of the time. As I mentioned previously, we've got no Fultz, which we knew. We have no Aaron Gordon. We have no Evan Fournier. Cole Anthony in those scenarios sees a huge uptick in usage rate and in his assist rate. So I'm giving him 31 minutes, 27% usage. That's 17.5 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, a stock and a half. Completely neutral pace spot. They gain 0 possessions. They lose 0 possessions. It's spot on neutral. But the big piece here, Cole Anthony becomes like a 1.1 fantasy point per minute guy at that usage rate. He's a no-brainer option in the mid-tier. Whether you're trying to do a balanced build, stars and scrubs, 5,400 is not a price tag to worry about. Cole Anthony, the best point guard play on the slate, the second best play overall on the FanDuel slate. Now, before we get to number 1, one last reminder, like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell, follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman, and go check out The Process, my new show, 6:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, where I break down each team. I go through their rotations, I go through their minutes, I go through their rates, I break it all down. That is the guts for the Contenders video, and you can watch me put it all together every single weekday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. But it's archived. You can watch it on our YouTube channel if you'd like. Search for Awesemo on YouTube to do that, and then subscribe to that channel. Number 1 with a bullet, NIKOLA VUCEVIC, center eligibility just 8,700, projected for 52.2. The GPP goal is 52.5. 33% of the time, we're going to get Vooch in the optimal lineup. 35 minutes, a 1.5 fantasy point projection per minute because 33% usage. 28, 12, and 4 baseline projection. He's taking on Portland, so it's going to be a lot of Enes Kanter, a guy that is not really capable of guarding him. Vooch looked really good the last time out as well. He's the no-brainer best play. I'd be very surprised if Vooch isn't the best play throughout the entire day, no matter what news opens up. This looks fantastic. He will have to do it all, particularly with Evan Fournier off the floor. It's all running through Vooch. That works perfectly for me. He is the number 1 contender for today's slate. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Tuesday, February 9th. I am on the strategy show today with Dave Loughran. Go check that out. Again, watch the process show if you can. I'm not on live before lock tonight, guys, so I will see you again tomorrow morning on the process show, and then on another edition of the ConTENders.